Fine. Let's start since we're running a bit late. Okay, I just wanna. I just want to say, thank you for the shul, for the synagogue, for Bene Naharyim, the congregation, for having me speak over here. I haven't been here in many years. The last time I was here, Aaron Abraham was still alive, actually. So it's been a very, very long time. And I just want to say, just before we start, I have a lot of hakarat tov. I have a lot of appreciation to Aaron Abraham. A lot of people may not know, but one of the reasons I'm religious today is because of Aaron Abraham. Allah shalom. A lot of people don't know this, but yeah, that's so. No, I yeah.
Can you start the actual lecture at 1? Because I promised a woman yesterday to.
Okay, fine. So we could do the question and answer now if anybody has questions, and then yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah.
About 2 lectures ago, you mentioned women do not go to the cemetery.
Not that they don't. It's best not to.
I see why.
Why? Because it can spiritually affect them. This is more on a Kabbalistic level, but the poskim halachically have said that it's better that women do not go to the cemetery. If it's for, let's say, because they lost somebody close to them, or they're doing it for a met mitzvah, then that's a different question.
Pregnant woman or every woman?
Every woman, every man, even. It's the best to avoid going to a cemetery as much as you can. If you're going for the sake of a mitzvah to bury somebody, that is a mitzvah. That's very good. But if you're just what?
I consider it's all mitzvah.
Not everything. To go bury somebody is a mitzvah. To go and visit on the day of the yard site, that's also a mitzvah. To go on the Shloshim, also. No. If it's not the yard site, it's best not to go. It can it's very dangerous spiritually. The poskim said that today we see a lot of problems and Rahman Litzlan, like mental illnesses and other things, and we see that a lot of it's because people go to the cemeteries and they shouldn't go to the cemeteries. It's also another thing, it's not good for the neshama, the person that you're going to go visit. It's not good to necessarily go when it's not their day, when it's not the Yom P'tilah, which is the yard site.
Why do we put a stone on it?
We put a stone to show that we're visiting, but there's a lot more into that. That I'm not so sure so much about. But
one more question, please. When we have to say Kaddish
yeah,
on a person, he die every weekend or what?
every day for a whole.
No. After the year.
After the year passed, only from Shabbat before to the day. Meaning, let's say
every week.
No.
Because they say Rabbi Aaron, anybody come say Bracha Torah, he say all the people they died,
You're talking about Hashkavot or
Hashkavot.
Okay, Hashkavot you only say if somebody passed away within the Yud Bet Chodesh, which is the first 12 months, then you can say Hashkavah every day. If it's after, then you shouldn't say it unless certain days, which obviously the yard site or the week leading up to it. Or some say Rosh Hashanah, there's a big inyan on Yom Kippur, and the Ashkenazim do it what's called Yizkor, which is the second day Yom Tov of every Yom Tov, Sukkot, Shavuot, and Pesach. So that's but otherwise a person shouldn't say it. It's not good for the neshama. It's not good for the neshama. It brings out you're calling the person down. Rav Menashe, alav shalom, actually told me this also, that you're calling down the neshama and it brings tzar to the neshama. It's the same idea if you go visit somebody's kever when it's not their day. What you could do is you can give tzedakah, you could give a bit of money for somebody else that it's their day, and it will be, go towards the person that's not their day. But it's best to go to the cemetery on the days where it applies, like Erev Rosh Hashanah, Erev Yom Kippur, Tisha B'Av, the day of the yard site, of course. Yes, that's usually those days.
You talk to them, isn't that the same thing?
What do you mean by that?
You talk to them like
at the kever?
No, not at the gravesite. Every day or once in a while, you remember them, or you want to say happy birthday.
So you could do that. I don't think it takes I'm not sure if it takes us as a good question. However, the truth is that a lot of the times the souls in the neshamot can sometimes, depending on what was judged in Shemaim, they can see what we're doing some of the times. It's a very complicated thing to explain what happens in the next world, but there are many places that tell us that The best thing, I guess, to more answer your question is what you're kind of more asking, what can you do for somebody that's deceased, I guess.
You remember that.
Right.
You said we can't go to the grave, so can we talk to them or that?
So I'll tell
category.
So I'll tell you even better. You can learn Torah, read Tehillim for them. You can do usually we do you could make brachot for them. Even outside, even if it's a random Tuesday, the yard site's not a year away, you can make a bracha for them. Why not? You can also do a suda for them. Most people do a suda meal. They do it on the day of the yard site. And as I said in the shiur, of Meir Eliyahu said that he once went to in Eretz Yisrael, he went to somebody was doing a yard site for his father, and he had like a whole catering, a whole this. It was like a brit milah or a wedding, kavyachol, right? And the Rav said, "Halvai, we all do that for our parents." That's what he said. Halvai, we all do something like this for our parents. No, but it's true because they do so much. Erev Rosh Hashanah doesn't come out on Shabbat. No, if you go, but Kippur usually doesn't come out on Kippur comes. Yeah, so
when we go to visit our dead, and you said on the Arab.
Oh no, that's
Shabbat.
Oh, so let me clarify. Erev Rosh Hashanah means the day before Rosh Hashanah. Leil Rosh Hashanah means the night of Rosh Hashanah. So
the day before Rosh Hashanah is Shabbat. When you go a week before, what do you?
no, usually the day before Rosh Hashanah can be on a Friday. It can't be on a Shabbat. Meaning Rosh Hashanah, the first day of Rosh Hashanah, can never be on a Sunday. So you would go. No, it can't. There's certain holiday they made it this way because the calendar was made so that Yom Kippur can never be on a Friday or on a Motzei Shabbat. Yeah, they made it so that every holiday in the Torah besides Shavuot, the first day of Shavuot, can come out on a Shabbat. The Shavuot, the second day, can come out on Shabbat, but not the first day. So what you can do is you can go Friday. You could go, Thursday night you can go. If it's, let's say Rosh Hashanah is on Shabbat, you could go not Thursday night, Friday during the day you can go. During the day, yeah. And same with Yom Kippur. Let's say Yom Kippur is on a Monday, so you go Sunday during the day. If you have time and everything and it works out. Otherwise you could go maybe a day before. Let's say you have let's say somebody has a yard sale on Shabbat, right? So you can't go on Shabbat to a cemetery. So when do you go? You could go up to 2 days before, up to 2 days after. Better 2 days before. So you could go Thursday during the day, Friday during the day, if you can make it. If it doesn't, take out into your plans. But it's a good thing to do if possible. But really, the big things to do for a person is what I said before: learn Torah, say Tehillim, Kaddish, of course, when it's the right time, of course. But learning Torah, and you could do that all the time. You could always learn Torah for somebody. By the way, let's just say this now. This shiur will be Leilun Nishmat Aaron ben Yosef Chaim v'Mesuda Chaya Rivka Bezrat Hashem, and all the people that passed away in hostages and Refuah Shelema, all the hostages and everybody and so on and so forth. We have about 5 minutes because you said 1 o'clock. So any more questions?
I have a question.
Okay, fine. Jack first.
You were saying that women should not go to the cemetery.
Yeah.
But is this a universal rabbinical opinion?
Yes, there is. Yes, this was the Yalkut Yosef writes it. Rav Yitzchak Yosef writes it. The son of Rav Avadia writes it. No, it's saying for everybody. He's saying it for everybody that men and women should try to avoid going to a cemetery unless it's really necessary to go. That's the opinion because there's a lot of tum'ah, there's a lot of impurities in the cemetery. And that can latch onto a person. These are all Kabbalistic concepts, but these things can, attach chas v'shalom to us and can cause not good things. That's why it's best not to do it. Let me just explain. There are things that in halacha, in the practical law, that we do each and every day. That the reason for it is because of a Kabbalistic reason. For example, when we put on clothes, you're supposed to put one at a time. You should not put 2 clothes on together. Why? It says Kabbalistically because it's called the Olam Mekif. It's a bit hard to explain, but because of it, it can cause a loss of memory. So this is spiritually, it can cause a loss of memory. The person has to be careful. Each and everything together. Like for example, I have my hat on right now, right? Right? So sometimes what can happen is my kippah can come off with my hat. So the best thing is to try to make sure that the kippah does not come off with the hat, so that therefore it won't be that issue. And also to put it, you shouldn't put it on together either. That's just an example. Now this is a Kabbalistic concept from deeper things, but halachically the Shulchan Aruch writes that the person should be careful about this. Same thing why we put the right shoe on first, then the left shoe, then we tie the left and the right. These are all deep Kabbalistic things, but the halacha says that that's how we should do it. Even when showering, there's way. Every single thing has a way to do it. The Shulchan Aruch, and the Rishonim, and so on and so forth.
When we put clothes on, we have to say bracha. Any
No,
bracha?
no. Coat, you just put the right sleeve on. See, right sleeve first, then the left. Like if I put on my coat right now, I put the right first and the left.
But why is that? Like,
It-
I'm right-handed.
So I actually,
The shoes.
it doesn't matter actually. No, it does.
Connected to Kabbalah.
Yeah, so that's a good question.
Except the way that
Yeah.
Kabbalah says.
So it's
What is the reason?
so because they have an effect, a very big negative effect if not done, and because of that,
What is that?
the negative effect is that it could be mazik laguf. It could affect the body and the soul in a negative way. Why these are deep things that I can't even explain to you right now. That you could give so many lectures on it, but because of this, because they were that important, the poskim that decisive halachic, like the Shulchan Aruch and others, said that this is why we have to do this. And I'll give you another example, and this I can explain more deeply. Just one second, Mechila. There is a inyan, and it's based on the Zohar, that a person should not walk barefoot outside, not in the house or on the floor, but outside on the ground, on the ground or on the grass. A person should not walk barefoot, meaning a person should wear shoes. Why is this? Because the Zohar says that when Adam and Chava ate from the tree, the snake was then punished, right? And he was told to eat from the dirt. So when that happened, the entire ground became tameh. The entire ground became impure. And the Zohar says that this is why a person should not walk barefoot on the ground, and this is what the halacha decides because of this. By the way, this is also why we say brachot on things, not halachic reason, the Kabbalistic reasons, tikkunim, rectification for many different things. That's that's the Kabbalistic reason of it. The halachic reason is because it says in the Torah that the Gemara Masechet Berachot Lamed Hey Amud Aleph says that if you don't eat with or drink without a bracha, that's called stealing. That's the Gemara, not me. The Gemara says this. So
What, stealing?
it's called stealing. Yes. So that's just one second. Johnny had a question.
I'm good.
Okay, fine. Mechila.
Yes, talk about Jesse Stroud. What about the lefty person? It's always the opposite.
Right. So even there are certain things that with the lefty they will do differently. However, I believe in this case they do it the right shoe first, left. They still do it that way. I could double check, but I believe it. So maybe you're right. It could be. I need to check it again, but I believe that for a lefty it could be the opposite. But the general. Usually when we talk about these things, the general things that it's because it's the best thing to be a righty. At least for a man, because even putting on tefillin, it's a person that's a lefty puts on tefillin on their right hand, right? But even that is a question. So some people will put one on their left, one on their right. It gets into a whole thing. It's best when you have kids, B'ezras Hashem, teach them, or whoever has kids, teach them how to write with their right hand, because then they put it on the left. That's the best lechatchila.
It doesn't work. It works.
Right? Sometimes it could, sometimes it can't. That's Okay.
So my question.
Fine. One more question, and we'll start with the shiur.
Okay. What you say?
Yeah,
You talk about the male or the female?
both.
It's both.
That was both. Yes.
Okay.
We'll talk about that also in the shiur.
Yes, and I really want to learn, like when people lost husband or the children lost parents. So it's different rule for the Shiva
Yes.
and how to cover it. I don't know
Okay.
if you have this knowledge because sometimes
Right.
we hear about other people, oh, you should do that, to do that.
Right.
So if you know,
I'll explain it very, very quickly. So, Shiva, a person let's say a man, if he lost either mother, father, wife, son, brother, sister, they are chayav in avelut.
Abador.
A daughter also, yes. They are chayav in avelut. They have to sit shiva for 7 days and then mourn for 30 days. For a parent, however, it's a whole year. So the avelut applies for a year. What?
For parents.
Correct. For a sibling, no. For a sibling, after 30 days, the avelut is over, but you could still say kaddish if the person didn't have kids. You still could say kaddish for the whole year for that person. The parent, though, it's a chiyuv to say kaddish the whole year. It's an obligation to say kaddish the whole year. What?
11 was the first year.
No. So 12 months, skip a week, and then continue. Yeah, that's Faradim. Ashkenazim do 11 months. Even some do 12 months, a whole 12 months yashar. That it's a machloket by Faradim. Yes.
I have a question about you personally.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
How did you you're learning every day?
I try to learn every
Your
day.
information is from school, like
Sfarim, books. You have books. You have books that teach you practical halacha. You have books that teach you in depth on it. You have books that teach you Gemara. You have
but
arts.
you do it on yourself privately, or
No, I learn with groups.
people?
I learn with an individual sometimes. For example, I study with it's called a chavruta, a learning partner. I study in the mornings usually for a few hours a day. I try to, and we're learning the laws of what's called mukseh. If you're allowed to carry this or that on Shabbat, on what you're allowed to move or whatnot on Shabbat. That I learned that. We were learning also before that in the different seder on if you're allowed to tell a goy to do something for you on Shabbat.
So basically, our religion is all about laws.
No, it's about laws, doing mitzvot, and learning Torah.
Mitzvot is
Actions.
laws, right?
It's not just laws; it's also actions. For example, putting on tefillin says you're supposed to put on tefillin. That's an action. You have to physically do that. Put on tzitzit. You have to physically do that.
Like if you smile
This is
and you make
everyday
somebody else
life,
happy,
everyday
that's it.
life.
Yes, that's also. It's called. It's a
everyday life.
chesed. It could be kiddush Hashem, which is even bigger than that. But yeah.
So basically, you're not deviating. Your life is very much structured according to
Torah
the
law.
rules of the mitzvot.
Correct. That's what it means to be a Jew. Yes. That's the Torah defines. The Torah was as I said in my first shiur. I want to get back to her question, but and then we'll continue.
You're not giving me my answer because what happened.
No, wait. I'll get to it, Mechila. I just
Yes.
want to say something because it's important. The Torah was created generations before the world, and with that said, the Torah has the laws for everything, how a person should be. The reason why you see today the government tells you the law of the land tells you don't steal, don't kill. Where does that come from? The Torah. It doesn't come from anywhere else. If you didn't have the Torah, you wouldn't have these laws. People would be Rahman Litzlan, even though already it's happening by the Goyim. But anyway, these are the laws that the Torah brought these laws, and the Torah told us how to be. Torah, Ora'ah, is instruction. It's the instructions of how to live, how to do, how to be. That's the Torah. Back to your question. So avilut for a parent is a year. The shiva is 7 days. A person has to sit a bit lower than me on the ground. You could use a chair and sit on closer to the ground. There's also a person can't shower for 7 days. A person has to, the shirt that they get, they kolea at the time of the burial, they throw that out at the end. And there's also no a person has to distance himself from his or her wife, or his wife or her husband. And there are other things also. Let me just say that these laws that we keep for the first 7 days are very important for the niftar. And some people are not makpid in these things.
So about the wife, when she finished the shiva, she need to go around 3 times to the house, like outside.
No, she just gets up.
Yes.
She gets up, washes her hands normally because you're not allowed to wash. It's like Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av. You can only wash up to the knuckles. You wash your hands normally, and then you get up, and that's it.
Oh, so not she not necessary to go around where they live together around the building.
As far as I know, no. No.
Because I hear this.
As far as I know, no. You just get up at the end, and that's it. But then there's a 30-day process, which is for a man they can't cut their hair. For a man, it's different. For a parent, it's also the same for a civil, but they can't cut their hair for 30 days. For a parent, they shouldn't start cutting their hair after the 30 days unless somebody around them tells them your hair's too long, you gotta cut your hair. That's the for the parents, not for a sibling. One more question about this, and then let's continue.
Time you were saying that for Shabbat, how the rule is to take this, what you're allowed to move this from here to there. Now, if we hear about it and there's no way we can keep Shabbat all the way, are we sinning?
It's a loaded question. It's a loaded question. The truth is that you can't change what the Torah says. The Torah says that there's 39. The Torah says that there is 39 melachot, 39.
Listen to her husband, whatever he said.
No, the husband should listen to the wife.
The wife. It says the wife is Ezo Kenegdo. She knows best. It works. It counteracts together. They have to work with each other always.
What if one partner does and one partner doesn't? Then
That's to be discussed with the Rav and have somebody that that's competent and can mediate in between and help. That's why people have Rabbanim. We talked about this in Pirkei Avot the other week. Okay, to answer your question, the question about Shabbat, I just want to. That's because it's a very big question. The truth is that there are 39 melachot, 39 types of work. Melacha is avodah, work. There's a type of work. So these 39 melachot are for Shabbat. One of them is you can't light a fire. So whoever doesn't follow these laws, yes, they're breaking Shabbat, which is a isur deoraita. It it's a sin from the Torah that somebody is transgressing. Yes, there's no clear-cut way to say no. Say this. It can. Now, let me just say this: there are people that, in general, out of Shabbat, out of anything, there are people. Everybody sins, unfortunately. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. However, so there are three types of sinners there, and we usually hear about this closer to Yom Kippur. There is the sinner that doesn't know, okay, doesn't know better, doesn't know that you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's sometimes accident. That's called bishogeg. Then there's bimezid, somebody that does it. What? Bishogeg, accident. Doesn't know. He really doesn't know. He doesn't know that if he turns on this light, it's a Yisur Shabbat. Doesn't know. Really doesn't know. Today it's a bit different because a lot of people know this. But anyway, so then there's the person that does it on purpose, but he does it because it's very hard for him. He's very weak. It's very hard for him not to have the light on. It's very hard. This is more in Ta'avot Nashim, but it's very hard for him not to go out with the woman. It's very hard for him. That's called mizid, but it's for Ta'avon. It's because it's out of desire, but he knows he's wrong. Then there's the person that's very wicked, and it's pesha, meaning he's not just doing it on purpose, he's doing it to rebel against Hashem. There are people like that. I hope not that many people, but there are people like that. But most of the people today are the people that do it because it's very hard for them. However, in the end of the day, it's still it's not the same level. It's not the same damage as somebody that dafka does it to upset Hashem. But it is what it is. We can't go and deny and say it isn't what it is. And in the end of the day, Shabbat is a very big thing, much bigger than a lot of other things, because it defines a person. It defines the Jew, as it says that the Shulchan Aruch says that we have what's called a driver's license, right? So if you get tickets and you don't pay your tickets, the driver's license gets suspended, right? So the same thing with Shabbat, and it's a hard thing to say, but it's the truth. The Shabbat also, there's a suspension of Judaism. That doesn't mean that person isn't Jewish. A person is always going to be Jewish as long as he or she came from a Jewish mother. That person is Jewish. However, what does that mean? That person can't testify in the Beit Din, can't be, if he's an ed, if he's a witness for a wedding, the wedding is not. It's not a wedding. The wedding is pasul. and many other things, many other things. And this is why you see a lot of people, uh, they're very serious when they speak about the laws of Shabbat. They're very important. However, when we say keep Shabbat, you have to keep to what you know. Even today, there are so many deep halachot to keep in Shabbat that we have to learn these things. But a person has to do whatever they know, and that's good enough. And then they're considered, that they're keeping Shabbat to what they know. That's the importance. I want to start with the shiur because it's already 1:11, and we will do, if everybody wants to stay for question and answer after, we will do. Fine. Okay. So
have to come tomorrow.
B'ezras Hashem, we could try to do this more often if everybody is fine with that. Let me just make sure the Zoom is going. People, okay, it seems like it's going. Fine. Okay. So there are 4 parashiyot that we read this month in Chodesh Adar. We read one yesterday called Shabbat Shekalim. We had Shekalim yesterday we read, and it was also Rosh Chodesh happens to be. So we had 3 Sifrei Torah that were taken out yesterday, right? 4. Why 4? Oh, the Haftarah? Okay, Haftarah. Okay, fine. No, but technically it's 3 Sifrei Torah, the Sefer Haftarah. It's very nice, by the way, that you guys have the Sefer Haftarah. Most synagogues don't have this specific type of Sefer Haftarah. They'll have it, and it will be regular writing like you see in the Chumash. But this is it's written the way of the Torah, and it's very nice. This one, by the way, I love it. Just to.
Some Shabbatot we have more stories than men.
Okay. B'ezras Hashem, there will be more and more people. B'ezras Hashem. Okay. Anyway, so we took out 3 Sifrei Torah because it was Rosh Chodesh, but we had Shabbat. So we have Shekalim, that was one parasha. We have Zachor, which is this week, Shabbat Zachor. Then we have Para, which is after Purim, Shabbat Para, the Para Aduma, the red heifer. And then you have a week break, and then you have at the end of the month Shabbat HaChodesh. These 4 parashiyot, let's exclude for a second the Shabbat Zachor. These other 3 parashiyot there's an opinion that every person is obligated to go and hear those. There is an opinion like this. However, we hold that it's obviously everybody should try to hear it, but it's not like this week Shabbat Zachor. Shabbat Zachor is the parasha, the maftir we read before Purim. Happens to be, it's also my bar mitzvah maftir, but for Kititzeh. Also by Kititzeh, there's an inyan for the women to also hear it. So this week, Shabbat Zachor, men and women are obligated from the Torah to hear the parashat Zachor. Meaning, if they have a synagogue that they could go to, then they should go and hear the Torah being read by someone who is valid to be a Baal Koreh and read the Torah and knows how to read it the correct way in the Ta'amim, and he has to have everybody in mind that he's having in mind that he is fulfilling the obligation for the men and women in the congregation. That is Shabbat Zachor. Every men and women should be there to hear this being read. If, let's say, you were not there for that time during let's say Torah reading is at 10 o'clock, let's say, and you weren't there, you missed the maftil, then you can have somebody read it for you without a bracha, read it from the Torah, and you can listen, and that's also fine. Happens to be that's usually what I do because I read it Iraqi. Everybody else reads it Sfaradi, so it's a bit different with the tunes. So usually that's what happens. Also, another thing, let's say that you have an Ashkenazi synagogue closer, but you have a Sfaradi synagogue that's not so far, but it's farther than Ashkenazi, and it's easier for Dugashi. It's better to go to Sfaradi because you should hear it the way that the Sfaradi read it, or in our case, the way the Iraqi reads it. So it's a bit different than the Sfaradi, but that's a different topic. So these parashiyot are very important to hear, and they revolve around the Purim time. So now, now we're going to talk about now. Let's just talk about Baal Koreh. A Baal Koreh should be somebody ideally that is.
What is that?
Then someone that reads the Torah, that reads the Torah, like Alon Abraham Shalom. So somebody that reads the Torah should ideally be someone that knows how to read it correctly, knows how to do the Ta'amim correctly. Also, really keeps Shabbat, but that's a different thing. But these things are very important, obviously. Now, but the important thing also is somebody that reads correctly. As we talked about before, there are a lot of people that are not makpid in the way they read dikduk.
So we have another guy.
Right. So right, but that guy also has to know. So
But what about somebody has accent?
no, it's okay as long as they're saying the words correctly according to the way of the halacha.
Are you speaking of reading it or chanting it?
Both.
So if someone cannot chant, can he read it correctly?
It's better. It's a good question. It's a good question. If as long as I think as long as a person reads it correct, I think I don't know for sure, but I know as long as a person reads correct, they could fulfill the mitzvah. But it's obviously better to get somebody that knows how to chant it correctly. Yes, because the way we chant is the way that there's a reason for it. That's the way the Torah told us how to chant it. There's the same with Nevi'im and Ketuvim, but mostly with Torah.
Okay. He had an arthritis, he couldn't talk, so he asked me to do it.
Right.
I don't know how to sing it, but I read it.
So it's fine. It's fine. If there's nobody else, then it's better than nothing, of course. It's better than nothing. Yeah.
I hear it well, so
as long listen, the biggest thing is that that people sometimes when they read the Torah, they make mistakes. Now, obviously we know that by Iraqis we have different minhagim, we have different customs on how we pronounce letters, like wow, thou, and so on and so forth. That's minhag. If a person says a taf in the shul, that's fine. If a person says va'ed, if someone says vehaya, it's okay. It doesn't say wehaya, it says vehaya, it's okay. There's no problem with it because that's minhag. But if a person doesn't make, and this is what Aaron Abraham always used to be very serious about, is if you don't make a distinction between aleph and ayin, that's halacha. That's a big problem. That's a mistake. No, that's Ashkenazi.
Times the I.
Yeah.
But the Ashkenazi wouldn't spell.
It's also a mistake for them. It's also a mistake for them.
But no, you're wrong.
No, Ashkenazi, every
No, I know, but the Sephardim.
Ashkenazim are obligated to say the ayin like it is said. That's halacha. That is the law.
If you take a Yiddish newspaper,
Tau and thou, that's not a law. That's a minhag.
And the het and the chaf.
Hayat and the chaf, that's halacha. Yes.
Okay, but now.
Hayat is also halacha.
On the top, they say, seeing like.
That's okay. That's minhag. That Ashkenazim, they're allowed to. That's a minhag. That's perfectly fine.
I want to where it was written that we have to chant. Because I understand. I was asking.
Right.
Where it came that we have to actually.
So it's from Sinai, from How Sinai. It's Torah mi Sinai. That's where it started. The way that Moshe Rabbeinu transmitted the Torah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu was with these ta'amim, with these chanting marks. Yes, and say by the way, chanting marks doesn't just apply for Torah. It's also for Nevi'im, Ketuvim, Tehillim. Aaron Abraham used to teach me for how to do it for Nevi'im. I still do it his way. Tehillim, he taught me a bit. He did it the Iraqi way actually. Like Rav Menashe also did it the authentic Iraqi way. So there are different ways to do it. That's just minhag, but it needs to be done. That's halakha. Okay, now we're gonna get any questions on these Torah parashiyot. Otherwise, we're gonna get into Purim. What we're waiting for. Okay, so Purim? Purim. Let's just clarify here that Purim is a very powerful holiday, even though it's a rabbinical holiday. It's not from the Torah. It is more powerful. It is said to be more powerful than Yom Kippurim. Why? Because Yom Kippur, it says Kap Purim, Kvok Purim, like Purim, Kippurim, like Purim. Meaning Purim is even higher. And also another thing that you realize, Erev Yom Kippur, the day leading up to Yom Kippur, it's a mitzvah to eat as much as you can. It's a mitzvah to eat. You don't have, and even if a person needs to fast because of a nightmare or some other reason, they should not fast. So you have to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. And then on Yom Kippur, we fast. What about Purim? Purim, you have Ta'anit Esther, which is, this year is going to be on Thursday morning to Thursday night. And then we eat. Friday we eat. We enjoy, we eat. So you see there's a bit of a it's a bit similar, but Purim is a very high level holiday, and it's very important to pray that day. It's very important to fulfill the mitzvot that apply that day. Which, by the way, the mitzvot of Purim, men and women are obligated. Now, why are women obligated? We know that women are what in the mitzvot of Purim, they're obligated to fulfill those mitzvot. Now, why are women specifically obligated? Because we know that there's a Gemara that says there's many places in the Talmud it says that women are exempt from time-bound, positive time-bound mitzvot, not negative. So Shabbat, it's a time-bound mitzvah, but it's a negative one. So a woman has to keep Shabbat. But positive time-bound is like tefillin, tzitzit, zman kriyat shema. A woman is there's positive and negative bound mitzvot. There's aseh and lo ta'aseh, meaning yeah. So lo ta'aseh, time bound, the woman has to do. Aseh, time bound, the woman is not supposed to do. So she's patu, she's exempt from, like tefillin, tzitzit, zman kriyat shema, and many other things. A lot of things the men do are time bound mitzvot. No, Kriyat Shema she says, but she doesn't have to fulfill the commandment. There's a commandment to say Kriyat Shema twice, once in the day and once at night. That is a mitzvah from the Torah. A woman is not obligated in that mitzvah. She says it when she prays by herself. She says it, but she's not obligated in that mitzvah. A man is, however, obligated in that mitzvah. That's why the brachot Kriyat Shema and brachot Baruch She'amar, a woman's not supposed to say Hashem's name. Meaning, we say you could skip the bracha and you just say all the psukei de zimra and the brachot Kriyat Shema and everything without Hashem's name. A man, however, says it just like it says in the Siddur.
What happens while you're saying it and you fall asleep?
What the Kriyat Shema?
Yeah.
You should try to repeat from where you know.
You fall asleep, you wake up, then after an hour, what happened? The book in your hand.
So try to finish it. Yeah, it can happen.
So you should finish
it says actually that a person, I'm saying specifically a man. Let's say a man goes and prays early, goes to Selichot during the time of Elul very early, and he tries to pray very early and go to the nets and everything, but he says if he falls asleep, then he's losing more than what he gained. If he falls asleep, especially during Kriyat Shema with tefillin, person has to be very, very careful.
Can you say it before you go to sleep?
You could. So there's that's a different thing. We say what's called Kriyat Shema Lamita. That's that men and women can say. That's a rabbinical mitzvah of Shema, and I could talk about it in a different time. But that's also that's something else. There's
I'm saying, can you say it like at 6 o'clock instead of at 10 o'clock just before you go to sleep? Or
yeah, why not?
So you can.
Yeah.
You saying only the first passage or the
The
whole
Shema ad emet. Yes,
But
that's
Shema, this is very powerful, and this is actually the main things from Am Israel.
yes.
So people, they can see whatever they feel. Sometimes you feel you want to say that. It's good to say that.
Let me just clarify. When a
It's
woman,
not just- it's no choice or something.
right?
Person really feel
Well,
he can see this, he can say this any place, anytime. There's no man. People say this before they go to sleep also.
right. That's a rabbinical, but there's a mitzvah from the Torah that requires a man to say it twice, once in the day and once at night, and it has to be by a certain time. And at night you have, this is for a different lecture, but at night you have from Tzet HaKochavim, from Laila Vadai until Alot HaShachar, when the sun starts to rise. That's at night. In the day, however, you only have till it's called the third quarter of the day by the halachic timing. So today it was around. There's two opinions. There's a Magen Avraham and the Vilna Gaon. The Sfaradim go by Magen Avraham. So today was 8:36. So really, a person should try to say the Shema before 8:36 with tefillin. That's 8:36 this morning. That I could talk about this. That's a whole different topic. I want to just. Then Baruch Shem, then Va'avta Ad She'emet Hashem Elokechem Emet. All there's that. Just those stuff. Yeah. It's not so crazy. Back to Purim. So with that said, that women are exempt from time-bound mitzvahs. Why do they have to fulfill this mitzvah of hearing Megillah? Why do they have to hear Megillah twice, once at night and once in the day? So it's because it's a rabbinical, and because they were part of that. They were part of that miracle. Yeah, because they were part of the Nis. That's why women are also have to go hear the Megillah at night and in the day. So let's talk about the mitzvot of Purim that women and men have to do. But first, before that, we'll get to Ta'anit Esther. Ta'anit Esther, why do we fast? We fast because there was a 3-day fast when there was a decree to kill all the Jews in Purim. Remember, Chanukah was a spiritual. They tried to spiritually kill us. In Purim, they tried to physically kill us and wipe us out. And also, it was Kabbalat Torah again, meaning we accepted the Torah upon ourselves again in Purim. That's why it's also a very powerful holiday. So now, the mitzvot of Purim that every person has to do. There is machatzit shekel, to give a machatzit shekel, which, what? Meaning you have to give but it's a half of a shekel. Some people use $2 half-dollar coins and they give it. There was one guy in my shul that brought half-dollar coins, like you want to buy a half-dollar coin and use it for the machatzit. You could do it like that, or you could just give $1, $2, it's fine, but you have to say. The important thing is that you have to say zecher lemachatzit, not machatzit, because then you're saying it as for the Bet HaMikdash. We don't have the Bet HaMikdash today, Bezrat Hashem we will, b'meira b'yameinu, but we say zecher because it's a remembrance for the machatzit shekel. So that you can even do today. You could do after Shabbat Shekalim. You could do that today, and you should ideally do it before the reading of the Megillah Purim night. Next is the mishloach manot, to give gift baskets. How many do you have to give? Minimum one, actually. Minimum one you have to give. It's always the more the merrier to give more. Another thing that's what do you have, and what should be in the gift basket? Ideally, like hagefen, shakol, mezonot, nothing like crazy, or not. You don't have to put meat or lechem or anything. Just actually, some people put lechem. They put like some small baguettes, but just basic things. Wrap it and give it to somebody. And it's for each person, meaning let's say a couple wants to give to somebody, it has to be a man gives one for a man and a woman gives one for a woman. That's how it should be. A man shouldn't give to a woman. Ideally, is not modest, but that's just another thing that is very good to know.
You are confusing us.
Another thing that's very interesting. Let's say you know a person and you had a falling out with that person, and you're not so close anymore. A nice thing to do is to give that person a mishloach manot. It doesn't have to be the first one, but in general, give that person a mishloach manot to try to reestablish the connection. Maybe you can apologize to one another, not have any, bad blood against each other. So it is brought down.
Can send mishloach manot to not Jewish?
No, you have to give it to a Jew. Ideally, you should get. Yeah, it has to be Jewish.
For example, my neighbor. We Purim, we celebrate those things.
Can't give it to it's not a mitzvah to give it to a non-Jew. It's a mitzvah to give it to a Jew, and also ideally, if you're going to give it to a Jew, you should give it to a Jew that's going to make blessings on it. Because if they don't make blessings on it, then you also, then that's also an issue. But it's best.
But if a non-Jew gives a Jew.
A non-Jew gives a Jew, it's not. He could give a Jew v'chabod, but it's not gonna.
Jew, he wants to know if he can give it to his neighbor.
No, you could as a kiddush Hashem, but it's not. You're not fulfilling the obligation of mishloach manot. But it might be a kiddush Hashem, so it might be a good thing to do actually, if you're that close and you feel that comfortable.
Oh, because they know we are.
Yeah.
New Year, they send us.
Okay, so if you're comfortable like that, you can do it, and it's a kiddush Hashem. It's a big thing to do, but it's not the obligation. Another thing, matanot la'evyonim, giving to the poor. How much do we give to the poor? I believe it's a equivalent of 2 meals. So I think like an average meal is like $20 maybe, depending on where you go. Some place
$25. Yeah.
So 25, fine. So fine. So it's good to give. Yeah, you could give it from tzedakah. You could give it from maaser. You could give like 40. Maaser is 10% of net income that a person should take out of the net income. That's another lecture, but it's good to know.
When you say give to the poor,
yeah.
What if the poor is not Jewish?
No, you have to give to somebody that's Jewish.
What?
You have to give to somebody that's Jewish to fulfill the obligation. However, I did hear from a from a young kid once. I was driving a young kid back after Megillah reading one year. He told me that the Shulchan Aruch actually says that if a goy comes and asks you for tzedakah, because a lot of these fake, there are these people that come to synagogues and dress as Jews and they're not Jews and they ask for money. He said that there is a Shulchan Aruch that may say that you should give them a bit of money, but don't give them a lot. Give them just a bit. Don't give them a lot because you don't know what these guys do. They're also scam artists, these people. What?
I didn't check if they're Jewish.
You don't. That's the whole problem today when you give people in general on a random Tuesday, people come to collect tzedakah. When you give somebody money, you don't know who's who. You have to. It's a complicated topic for a different time. But synagogues deal with this. It's a very hard thing to deal with. I deal with it myself. There's a group of people that I don't even think they're Jewish. One guy you see by the mikveh already an hour before Shabbat. I'm like collecting tzedakah. I'm like, don't you have to get ready for Shabbat? Like, what are you doing here? Like, it's not. So a lot of people I don't give to. I do like this. I can't excuse them. I'm davening. I really am davening. I'm not lying. So yeah. So matanot evyonim. Yeah, you have them everywhere. Anyway, matanot evyonim. So you could give. Usually, what happens is that most synagogues and rabbis have a box to put in the money, and they will be a messenger for you, and they will give the money to the poor person that they know is a poor person, and they validate. That's usually the best thing to do, and they give it on Purim day, not before, not after. They give it Purim day. You just put it there for them to do it. You could do it even from today. The last, but not the other thing is two more things. The Purim Suda. It's a mitzvah to have a Purim Suda because we know that a meal, a festive meal, because during the time of Achashverosh, they had a festive meal for many days. Mishteh, yes. They had a mishteh from it, and we were punished because of it. So now we have a mishteh also, and it's the only time in the year where a person is really allowed to get drunk. All the other times, that's a very debatable question whether you're allowed to get drunk. The only and this doesn't apply for women. A woman can drink white wine, but a woman should not get drunk. Women do not get drunk on Purim. They drink a bit of white wine to fulfill the mitzvah of having wine and meat in a meal. But the men do get drunk, and only with wine, not with arak, not with tequila, not with whiskey bidyuk, not with any of these things. No. Wine, hagefen. Red wine preferably is good. White wine for the ladies, red wine for the men.
Kosher.
Now, yeah, kosher, of course. Now, what is the inyan of getting drunk on Purim? There are some people that get drunk the right way, and obviously we know there are some people that get drunk, unfortunately, the wrong way, and they end up ruining their whole lives over it. And this is not what the holiday of Purim is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be that person gets drunk, drives, and kills a bunch of people, Rahman al-San. That's not what it is. It's common sense. We don't do these things. It's not supposed to be that person causes a ruckus. That's not what it means to get drunk. What it means to really get drunk the right way, it's called in Gematria, or Gimtaria as we say, the word yain equals 70, the number 70. So does sod, secrets, equals 70. So the Mikubalim put the nichnas yain yotze sod. What does that mean? That a person that is on a holy level, and this is the work of all the other times of the year, we work on ourselves to get to the point that where we get drunk on Purim, that we are able to speak Torah and speak about so many different things in the Torah and about life that wouldn't come to us in a general mindset. And actually, my Rav Eliyahu Raful Shlita, I saw him get drunk the first Purim he was with us, and mamash, he was the pinnacle of what's called nichnas yain yotze sod. He just starts talking about all these different things out of nowhere in Torah, and all these different chidushim and different things that he's just a machine spitting out Torah. Beautiful thing to see. Now that's what it means to get drunk. There are also some people that they get to a high level. Rav, I don't know if anybody ever heard of him, but a very big rabbi far Rockaway by us called Rav. His name is Rav Eitan Feiner. He was a modern Orthodox Jew. He was Shomer Shabbat and stuff, but he wasn't where he is today. Today he's a very, very, very big rabbi. And what happened? He got drunk on Purim, and he had an epiphany at that point, and that's when he decided to take his life seriously, become a rabbi. He wanted to become an attorney and be a big attorney like Alan Dershowitz, and he didn't do that. Rav Eitan Feiner, and he's a very big Rav today. He could have became the Rosh Yeshiva of Esha Torah, the famous yeshiva in Yerushalayim. And
was
he
drunk when he decided that.
he had that epiphany when he got drunk. Yes. So now I'm not saying that everybody, but there is a big thing about it. So that's the Purim Suda. It's good to have it. Oh, another thing. When is the good time to do it? To have the meal? So it's a debate between the poskim and the Kabbalah. Poskim say it's better to do it when you have a group of people and you can do it with a nice group of people, and you do it later in the day. Today this year it's different because it's coming out before Shabbat. So some people do it before 12 o'clock, before Chatzot, the halachic midday. Some people by Sfaradim, we heard recently that the best opinion is to do it and take it into the Shabbat. That's the opinion of the halacha when it comes on a Friday. When it comes, what about the Mekubalim, the Ben Ish Chai and other Mekubalim? The Kabbalists say right after Shachrit, right after you finish praying Shachrit, you take off your tefillin, you should gather a group of people, have the Suda, get drunk, do the whole 9 yards. Last year when I did this, I finished the Suda. I was already done with Purim by 10 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, in the morning, yeah. Got drunk, fell asleep, everything, all the 9 yards. Gave them Mishlach Manot, Patanat Yavim, everything, Megillah. Yes, by the men, yes. So that's the Ben Ish Chai writes. Ben Ish Chai also writes that if a person can have 17 cups of wine, not big cups, but decent amount of cups, 17 cups, that's a Kabbalistic thing. The Ben Ish Chai says it. I'm just bringing it down because we're very big on the Ben Ish Chai. So at either 13 or 17. I think it's
17 glasses of wine.
Not that cup is good enough. That cup right there is good enough. Now, it doesn't even have to be full. I tried it last year. It didn't work well for me. I got the 7. What?
You go to sleep when you have 17.
That's the point.
That's
Me
what
too.
happened with
17 of this one, or is it?
17.
I got up to 7 and then my stomach already was gone. So some people could do it.
17 cups of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
You
like
have to
2
be
bottles.
drunk. You don't
3 bottles.
you understand?
That's the point.
You have to be
They
drunk.
always-
Listen, again,
But don't feel like
from a halachic perspective, let's say a person doesn't drink all year. You get tipsy, you drink to the point where you really can't, and you did enough. And it says, Hayav inish libesume ad lo yada. A person has to, become you drink until they don't remember between Hahu Haman and Baruch Mordechai. They don't remember between who Haman was and Mordechai. Even I remember one year.
That's it.
I remember briefly one year I was just like, who was Haman? Who was Mordechai? I can't think about this anymore. That's also good.
That's it.
I can't think about it anymore. So that's the Purim Suda. Then obviously the biggest one, which applies to men and women, is to hear the Megillah twice, once at night, once in a day. When do we recite the Megillah at night? It has to be from Tzet HaKochavim. We pray Arvit, we do Shmona Esrei, we say Al Nisim, then we say a Kaddish, and then we open the Megillah, we make the bracha Al Mikra Megillah, we make the bracha of She'asa Nisim Avotenu, just like in Chanukah, and then we make a Shechiyanu only at night. In the day, we don't make a Shechiyanu. As long as somebody heard at night, we don't make a Shechiyanu in the day, only at night. Then
Every time you have to say Shechiyanu.
no, just at night, just first time at night, and then after we say V'ata Kadosh, Shi'amala Kadisha Aleinu Shabbat. That's the Arvit. Shachrit is there's many things to it. Also, really the best. When from Shachrit can we start reading Megillah? After Netzach Hama, meaning after the crack of dawn, you could already start reciting Megillah. So usually most people go to what's called a Netz Minyan, where they start putting on their tefillin the earliest they can, and you get to Shmona Esrei the earliest time you can say Shmona Esrei, and that is the best time to pray every day. Every day, if a person, Aaron Abraham used to do it by himself. He told me he used to wake up for Netz usually every day. I'm not sure in the summer if he did because it gets very early, but during most of the year he used to wake up for Netz usually. That's the best. But obviously a person can pray later. A person could go to 8 o'clock. But the important thing is to hear the Megillah in the day. Sometimes they do extra Megillah readings just for women, where a man will read it for all the women. Another important thing that when we hear the Megillah in the day, a person should have their tefillin on. person should make sure that tefillin stays on, because it says La Yehudim Hayita Orav Simcha V'Sason V'Ikar. The Orah has a correlation to the tefillin. So the Megillah, yeah.
Is the Megillah reading after Shachrit or before?
It's in the prayer of Shachrit. It's after Torah reading. You have Shemona, you have a regular Shachrit. You say Shemona Esrei Al Nisim. You open the Sefer Torah. We read the end of Parashat Beshalach, Ve'abo Amalek. There's 3 aliyot, and we close the Torah. And before we put the Torah away, we get to, if you know the Tefillah, you get to Ba'al Tzion, if anybody knows. Before Atah Kadosh, you read the Megillah, say the whole Megillah, and then we say Kaddish Kabal, put the Torah away, and then the rest. And there's Mizmor also for Purim also. That's a bit.
Get drunk.
Could get drunk. You keep getting drunk. Lama lo. Not during Megillah, not during davening. Another thing, a person should not pray while drunk. A person should not pray while drunk. I remember I was drunk one time and I needed to say Kaddish, and I'm like, I can't, I'm too drunk. You can't serve Hashem drunk. You can't pray drunk. Usually that's why they say for Mincha on Purim day, it's better to daven early. Why? Because the later you pray, the more drunk the Chazan is. That's usually what happens. So it's very important to make sure that a man has his tefillin on when the Megillah is being recited. If a person wears 2 tefillin like Rabbeinu Tam, then the person should try to switch and put on the Rabbeinu Tam before tefillin, before the Megillah, if they can. If not, then it's okay. They could wear the Rashi tefillin. But a person should not take off his tefillin when the Sefer Torah is out. That is another thing. Let me see what's next. So that is the Megillah, and that is the mitzvah of Mikra Megillah. You have to listen to every word. You have to try to listen to every word. It's also, there are some people that pay a lot of money and they read from a klaf, from a real Megillah. They read from a Megillah, it's written, and they read it from there. You can do that. Whoever is reciting the Megillah has to recite it from a real Megillah, and it's written just like in the Sefer Torah, and it has to be and person has to also, whoever is reading the Megillah for the kahal has to have in mind to what? Huh?
Congregation.
Yeah. Person has to have in mind to fulfill the obligation for all the congregation, and the congregation, it's called Shomea Keoneh, has to have in mind that the Chazan, the Baal Koreh for the Megillah is fulfilling your obligation. Same thing with shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Same idea. That usually your son still blows the shofar. So when he blows, he has to have everybody in mind, and you have to have in mind that he's fulfilling the obligation for you. So same thing with the Megillah. And that is basically the gist of
So if somebody is praying and somebody is just listening, that considered like he's praying too?
If somebody is still praying
Loud.
when they're reading Megillah, no. You have to.
I'm talking in general, praying, and on Shabbat the reader is reading and we are not following on the book, we just listen.
That's okay. It's better to. So that's okay. It's better to follow along. It's obviously better to follow along. Some people even read it as they did, but it's better to follow along. Another thing I'll mention also, during Megillah reading as well as Kriyat Torah, there should be no talking at all. It says it's a very, very bad, but it's not a good thing that if talking during praying in general, it says that you're even allowed to embarrass a person if they're talking. That's the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch and the Kaf HaChaim comments on that, and says that also that you're allowed to, that a person, because a person embarrassing himself. So with Megillah, it's even more than Kriyat Torah. Kriyat Torah, it's not good to talk because it takes away from people as well. It takes away from it during prayer, during Shmona Esrei, Chazarat Hashatz, Kaddish. A person talking takes away. If one person decides to talk in the middle of Kaddish or Chazarat Shmona Esrei, that person is taking away from everybody else that prayed for whatever they need. The person takes away from that. That's why it is very, very important that people do not talk at all.
What is Chazarat?
The repetition of the Amidah. The repetition of the Amidah, unless it's really, really necessary. Let's say there's an issue with a kohen that needs to come up, or there's a kohen coming and they want to wait a bit. Okay, fine. When it's really necessary, fine. But when it's not necessary at all, when you're just going to talk about, oh, how's your day going? No, you can't do it.
We cannot read in Hebrew. It's okay to read in English, the Megillah?
No, you have to be able to read it in Hebrew.
And it cannot.
So you,
So the important here in the Megillah, more is more powerful. The story behind this is why people they need to listen for. The story is a story there, right? More is like high holiday. You need to go inside to feel.
It's kind of a mix of both. The mitzvah is to hear it, and if a person speaks, now we talked about Sefer Torah. Let's talk about Megillah here for a sec. If a person speaks during the reading of the Megillah, then it's called what's called a hefsek. It's a pause, and that person may have to hear the Megillah from the beginning. That's why a person should not talk during Megillah reading.
How about Shabbat?
Shabbat, it's a bit different, but still, the women don't, but a man has the obligation to hear the Torah on Shabbat, as well as during the week.
But once in the sanctuary and you're listening and people talk to you,
you should tell them.
So absolutely no talking.
Absolutely no talking. No, there should not. In general, in the synagogue, there shouldn't be talking at all. In the Bet Midrash, it's different. In the study hall, it's different. But in the synagogue in general, there should not be. There's a whole topic of what's called halachot of the Bet Knesset, and really in general, a person, even when there's just two people in there, person shouldn't be talking about idle matters. And that's the best. But even Kal V'chomer, even more so when people are praying, and when they're doing Amidah or the repetition of the Amidah, person should not be talking at all. It takes away from everybody's prayers. Takes away from it. And unfortunately, it's a big problem today.
You cannot read in Hebrew.
You cannot read in Hebrew the Megillah.
The Torah, the Megillah, if I'm reading the English part because I cannot read the Hebrew part.
So
what does that mean?
So, you're saying when you're following along?
I mean, I can't read Hebrew.
Right. Okay. So
as a congregant.
So just try to listen to every word. If it's really ad kedekach, try to listen to every word, and make sure you hear every word clearly. You also have to make sure that whoever's going to read it is saying it crystal clear and loud and proud. Maybe not proud, but loud.
A lot of people don't understand Hebrew.
It's okay. It's okay if they don't understand Hebrew, but as long as they hear it and they read it.
Go to synagogue and they don't understand
Okay,
Hebrew, they don't know how to read.
It's still. So here's the question. Just one second. Here, you bring up a question. Let's say a person knows how to read Hebrew, doesn't understand it, but knows how to read Hebrew. But obviously, if he would read it in English, he would understand it much more. He'd have more kavanah, concentration, and so on and so forth, right?
Not better?
No, it's actually better to read it in Hebrew. Still better to read it in Hebrew because that is the language of the Torah, and it's still better to read it in Hebrew. It's still better. You should try to. That's why we have today. I even use a siddur like this. That's why I have a siddur like this. It's called. If anybody knows Don Germazian from the American Dream Mall, the famous Don Germazian, he made what's called a siddur called Yedid Hashem, where it has interlinear Hebrew and English right underneath each other. It's much easier than when you get the Art Scroll Sephardic siddur. Much easier to read. I use it to this day, and it's very helpful. Very, very helpful. Persian synagogues have it, yes, and it's.
So you read it as if it's in Hebrew.
I read it in Hebrew, and I could see the English underneath sometimes. Yes. I mean, whether I pay attention to it all the time, that's a different question. But yes, Shlomo. Wait, no, first.
So let's say that someone don't know how to read in Hebrew.
Yeah.
I want to read it. So can they use the translation?
You're saying to say it in English or to
read.
I mean,
they cannot read in Hebrew.
Of course.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. One more time. To say it in English, you're saying?
No.
To say it in a transliterated Hebrew.
In Hebrew, like let's say
It's written in English.
Yeah.
So I'll write in English.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Purim.
Yeah.
So you can read it. Is that okay?
Yeah, you have the Kaddish sometimes that they have it in an English that says it in like that writes it in a way so it's easier for people to say it that can't read Hebrew. Yes, you could do.
So in reference to the Megillah or any prayer,
Yeah.
is it okay?
The Megillah, if a
Because
person
this-
is if a person is if a person that is spectating and reading and not reading, meaning they're listening, if they're listening, I believe that would be fine to do it like that. But the person reading it obviously needs to read it in Hebrew. That's he has to also read it without nekudot also.
Talking about us, regular.
Right. So you could if you have a version of the Megillah that says it in a transliterated Hebrew, yeah, you could do that. But you have to make sure you hear every single word. You have to be very careful. It is sometimes most people, I will say, they may think they may not know how to read Hebrew, but then when they really hear it, and if the person is reading slowly, they may know how to do it. Every person is, to each their own on it. Every person's at a different place and a different level. But obviously, the best thing is to, if they, try the ishtadut, the effort that you can do. I think that's a good effort to try. But obviously, a person should learn to.
I'm trying very hard, but it's
It's not
very
should.
difficult.
Right.
So like when I'm reading the Amidah, I'm reading it in English so to
Right.
understand what we're reading.
Right. But the question is, could you potentially read it correctly to a degree in Hebrew, even though you're not going to understand it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a different question. But let's say if he could, it would be better to read it in Hebrew. If he cannot, then yes, there are people that you could say it in English. There are people that do say it in English. We Johnny and I in the program I used to be in, we saw quite a bit of people that do read it in English because they really don't know. But and that's is what it is. But a person has to actively be trying, and it seems like you are, which is very good. But the key is that the fact that that person is doing it that way is what's bringing that person to go to minyan every day, which also is a very good thing. So yes, why not? Obviously, the best is Hebrew. We can't deny that. But to do it to get to it, yes, why not?
Not in person.
Your mother first, Mechila. Yes.
At the end of the Megillah, it says they have Haman
Mhm.
with his children.
Yeah.
Haman, let's say, he was bad. But why his children? Is this justified?
They were bad also.
Huh?
They were bad also, and there was a
They were bad,
There-
the children?
yes, there was a decree against them to get hanged from either from a time before that the neshamot got hanged also. It's either after or before, I forget exactly, but they were also bad. His wife was also bad, Haman.
In the Megillah that they were bad.
So that's
Is this good for the children to listen to this?
yeah, why not?
This is what I wanted to say. You think that in our lifetime, or maybe in the next 100 years, there will be a scholar that eliminate chapter 9 of the Megillah?
No, of course
Because
not. The
when
Torah can never be changed or
When I come to the Megillah, when we come to chapter 9, I walk outside.
why?
Because it's very graphic.
Okay, Mav.
I agree with Hamid of Haman. Maybe it's children. But if you make the count, it's 75,000 people. It doesn't belong in our religion.
Who said? Wait. We have to understand that there were people. Wait. We have to understand that within Tanakh there were people killed all throughout the Tanakh. There were people that were killed that were one of us. There were people that were killed that were the bad guys.
It was for the sake of killing.
No, because there's a nekama. Wait. Because there is a nekama. Everything that Kadosh revenge. There is a listen. We don't have the listen. Look at Amalek, for example. What are we reading this Shabbat Zachor? We have a mitzvah from the Torah to go and kill Amalek. Meaning today, if there was a guy right now outside that Vadai is Amalek, you have the mitzvah to go and kill him, even if he's not doing anything. What? No, you have the mitzvah to do it. But you have. Okay, but who? But wait a minute. Who is big? Who created the world? Who? The government or Hakadosh Baruch Hu? There you go. Okay, but either way, Amalek doesn't apply to us today because we don't know who exactly is Amalek. That's why we don't know for sure. But Hamas, that's a different reason why we're allowed to kill them. Why? Because if somebody, exactly, if you know Vadai that a person is going to go and kill, let's say Reuben knows that John that not Reuben knows that Ahmed, Reuben knows that Ahmed is going to come and kill him. He has a mitzvah from the Torah to go and kill him first. But if, let's say, Reuben saw Ahmed kill Shimon, and there's no chance that Ahmed is going to kill him, then he can't go kill him anymore. That's it. But Hamas is a different say because we know that when you release them, no matter what, there's no concept of teshuvah, of repentance in their head. They're allowed to be killed. They're allowed to be slaughtered. It's a mitzvah deoraita to go and slaughter them.
But it happened in Iran. A Jew killed a Muslim because the Muslim attacked him.
Yeah, he did the right thing.
He did the right thing.
And then he was killed. Yes.
And
Okay, so in the end of the day, he did the right thing, and the fact, okay, he got hanged because the government hanged him, and in the end of the day, he's gonna have a leniency and a kapara, a atonement in Shamayim because of it. You think all these people that got, this is a whole different thing, and now I guess we're done with the show. Go Kashever, but do you think? Let's ask a real question here. Do we think that all the people that got killed on October 7th, all the people that got killed in the Holocaust, do you think that they're just gonna go like an ordinary person to Shamayim? Do you think that the person that lived a normal life, being wicked or this, that, or whatever, do you think they're gonna get the same type of treatment in Shamayim that the Holocaust, that somebody that died in the Holocaust or somebody that, no, of course not. In fact, the people that died in these things, there is, I don't know what happens to each person, why it happened. I can't tell you. But what I could tell you for sure is that a person that is killed in that way, Rahman al-Islam, that there is a lot of leniency on that. And if a person dies on Kiddush Hashem, which is not what I'm saying about in this situation, when a person like Rabbi Akiva that died on Kiddush Hashem, it cleans a person from everything. Now, what about this? Also, it cleans. So a person, these things don't go unjust. Hashem is just and merciful. Nothing goes unjust. Nothing. So in the end of the day, even with what Shlomo was saying about the Megillah, the people that were killed at the end, right? There was a justification to why they had to be killed. There was a justification. Okay, you think okay, you okay.
Line by line
Okay.
With my limited knowledge of Hebrew,
Okay.
I read line by line,
Okay.
and he saw the second killing.
Right. You wait.
Except for Aman,
Wait.
all the other 75,000 are for the second killing.
First of all, before you read the pasuk and you try to understand the pasuk, you have to understand it with midrashim, with the farashim.
No, I don't know Midrashim. No,
You have.
Okay.
But
I can make a midrash with something sickening.
no, you can't. No, no ordinary person.
Something arbitrary. I can make a
No,
midrash,
you can't.
but I think that it's sickening.
No, you can't. You can't because who is Rashi? Who is this? These are people that we're nowhere near these people.
Why?
These people because these people were Ruach HaKodesh. They received the Torah from Sinai. They had the orchard. Everything that Rashi says is from Sinai. Everything that Rav Ovadia writes, the thing was in Sinai. Everything that the Ben Ish Chai wrote came from Sinai. That is oral Torah. Yes, if you teach a chidush, it was also in Sinai. That's the point. Every listen. Lo zemi Sinai. That is one of the. Torah zemet v'Torah emet. Torah, you need Torah. We talked about this in the past, but you need Torah shebichtav v'Torah shebe'al peh in order to fulfill Torah. How do you do a brit milah without the Torah shebe'al peh? How do you make tefillin? Put on tefillin without Torah shebe'al peh? How? How do you put on tzitzit? Ma? לא. התורה, הכל התורה כולה, גם הכתב ובעל פה, היה כתוב כבר generations before the world was created. As we said in the first shiur, there were 7 things created before the world. There was Torah, Tshuva, Genom. Yeah, there was Torah, the Torah, Tshuva, repentance, Gehenom, hell, Gan Eden, paradise or heaven. There was the Kisei HaKavod, the holy throne that Hakadosh Baruch Hu sits upon, and where the neshamot also come from. There was the Mashiach's real name, Ben David, and the last thing was the third and final Bet HaMikdash may be rebuilt very soon. That was the things that we received. That was what was created before the world was created. Meaning we had the Torah always. It was there for generations before. Everything was pitched in perfect plan. Now, we have to realize that a lot of the things, just like Shlomo said, we're not going to always understand fully why. We're not going to understand why October 7th happened. We're not going to understand why the Holocaust happened. We're not going to understand why these people were killed up, or why we could go and assume that was because of this or because of this. We know that we could ask the same thing during Corona. Why were there big rabbis that died during Corona? We don't know, but we have a lot of Gemarot and many Talmud. We have a lot of lessons and real things from Chazal, from the sages, and from many other places that can teach us the ideas of what exactly can be going on, but we don't know for sure. For example, we saw many rabbis unfortunately die in Corona. Unfortunately, big rabbis. Now, so everybody's like, but why? But why? They were so big, so holy. So we also have to learn that a big rabbi, a big tzaddik, someone that is a big tzaddik, his life is equivalent to thousands of ordinary people. So when that tzaddik unfortunately dies, he has a kapparat alonot. He's good to go. He's going straight to Gan Eden, and he gives that kapparah, that atonement gives life to ordinary people so that they can live longer, do tshuva. That is why so there is a inyan like this. Can I say for sure? No, but there is a inyan the same. And now when you look at the Holocaust and October 7th, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's because they didn't do mitzvot, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. I don't know why this person happened to this. I don't know why that person happened to that. I don't know. I can't tell you. However, we see that in the situation of October 7th. Now let's not think, oh, it's secular versus religious. No, there was in Har Nof years ago. They were praying Shachrit. They were in the middle of Shmona Esrei, and a gunman came in and killed people davening Shachrit. They were osek b'mitzvah and they got killed. So nobody can run away from Hashem. Now, in this whole thing, we see that the majority we're not as religious people in this thing. We can't deny that. Now, why was it? I don't know. However, there was a story from Rav Alon Anava, who's a big Rav in Eretz Yisrael. He said that he.
Sunday.
What?
It's going to be in Gretnik on Sunday.
Rav Alon Anava's here. Okay, good. Good. He's a very, 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 very stark guy. A lot of people can learn a lot from him. And Rav Yosef Mizrahi, who Aaron Avraham was a big fan of, by the way. No, most people don't know this. Anyway, there was a story. What? I tell you, it's much more than that. But yes, very, very much so. He changed a lot for me. There was a story that Rav Alon Anava told over about, now you could think it's extreme, you could think it this, you could think that, and now I'm not saying that for sure this is why. He had a friend that went to go, Menachem Avil went to go pay respects to a father who lost a son and daughter in the Nova festival. He went, so when he was talking with the father all of a sudden said, he said, I feel like I have an idea why this happened to my kids. So the guy's just like, okay, what are you thinking? What do you think? So he said, my kids were part of the Yom Kippur balagan that happened in Tel Aviv. They were part of the organization that was doing all that balagan in Tel Aviv. Now, is that why they died? I don't know. He doesn't know. Nobody knows. But the fact that the father felt that way and could say those words about his own children, it shows a lot. Not that that's why, but it shows a lot to show that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need us to do anything. Doesn't need us to do mitzvot. He wants us to do mitzvot. And when we do mitzvot, there's a reward. When we don't, there's a punishment. Like it says in the 13 principles of faith. It's a fundamental principle in the Torah that every person has to acknowledge. Just like the Mashiach, just like Mechiyat HaMetim.
What they for?
The babies that I could give.
I would not get punished.
The babies, I could give you a general idea, but I cannot say 100% for sure, just like with anybody. But everybody, this is something Aaron Abraham talked about a lot in the Zohar, and it comes from the Zohar. The Zohar brings this concept called Gilgulim, reincarnation, right? Majority, if not all of us, are all Gilgulim. If not all of us. Meaning we are recycled from different neshamot. And we come here with a purpose to rectify ourselves and do tshuva and so on and so forth. There are babies that we see die young, whether it was in this situation or in other situations. Listen, there are babies that die in this situation and other situations. It happens. It's very sad. I'm not denying that it's sad. It's very sad. However, the reason most likely could be, and Aaron Abraham even used to say this, it could be that there are certain rectifications that they have to mitaken, to rectify, and that includes this happening. And it's very hard to hear. It's very sad to hear. It's very emotional to hear. It hurts. But in the end of the day, let's not think that this is the end for these babies. These babies, that could have been their entire tikkun. That could have been it. They go straight to heaven after that. Not to believe, you have to know that. No, it's vadai.
To believe in heaven and hell. That's what you mean.
Yeah, and that's the issue, and that's why. See that is why it is. That is the foundation of why it's sometimes very hard to understand Judaism and get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because of this lack of understanding of what's called Olam Haba. Rav Victor Miller writes about this, that the Olam Haba is everybody needs to understand what that is and what's happening, because everything we do, every mitzvah we do, every avirah we do, it all has to do with the Olam Haba. This world is a corridor to the next world. That's what this world is. It's a world of action.
Do we need to acknowledge the mitzvah that we did and say, oh, I did a mitzvah, or we shouldn't?
Sometimes we may, sometimes we don't. It's nice to, it may make you feel good, but you may not always realize it. For example, you sit in a Bet Midrash, you may not realize some mitzvot you have to have kavanah for, and that's a whole different topic. But just to, concentration, not concentration, but you have to have you have to acknowledge that you're doing this mitzvah. You have to say, like, when I do Kriyat Shema, I say, Hareni mechaven, I'm hereby mechaven, directing myself to do mitzvah taseh d'oraita, the mitzvah from the Torah, to do Kriyat Shema. And then I say Shema Yisrael. That's.
Can you say that after 12, after midnight, or the next day?
You could say it after 12. Yeah, you could say it after 12. Yeah, why not?
Oh, you can?
You could say Shema. That's a different discussion. But
No,
yes,
but
you could say.
every time, but sometimes I try to do it before 12 midnight.
You could do it after also. If you're gonna go to sleep, yeah, you could do it.
There are some topics in life.
Yeah.
The best is to follow Pirkei Avot. And the suggestion is Siyag lechokhmah shtika, which means
To be quiet. Yeah.
You better don't say anything. Don't give interpolation. The worst thing to do is to be the spokesman for the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Who said I'm a spokesman?
No, not. Some people try. No, not yours. Some people pretend to know exactly what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wishes or not.
Very true. Yes. There are people like that they think that their assumptions are met, and that's not true. Listen. However, I'm not going to take away from it because it is a good idea. There is a Gemara that says that when we see suffering upon ourselves, little, minor, or Rahman Litzlan, even worse, it says that a person has to mifashfesh b'ma'asav. Person has to look at their deeds, at what they're doing. So what is that? What do we learn by that? That person has to analyze what they are doing in their life that could cause that suffering. So in the end of the day, there is in inyan, there is a idea of analyzing why did this happen? Why did that? Could we figure out the 100%? No, I'm not Kadosh Baruch Hu. No, we cannot. But there is an idea to go and analyze why. And either way, when we see people suffering, like in this situation, what did a lot of people do? They went and did tshuva. They went and repented. They went and took upon themselves things. There are many stories of people. What? But that's what happened with the Holocaust. The Holocaust also, people went to the other side and refused. Some people went and became religious. But it depends on who you are. But in the end of the day, it depends on how. It depends on also. It also doesn't just depend on who you are. It depends really on the person's pride and how humble they are. That is a very big foundation, and it's a very big musal to realize that the more humble a person is, the more they will be able to direct their way and get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The more pride and arrogant the person is, and we all have to work on this, including myself, the more prideful and arrogant the person is, the harder it is for them to get connect. And like it says, I heard once from Ron Abraham this shot. It says, what is the Rashi Tevot of Rasha? Resh Shin Ayin Ribono Shel Olam. Now I forget he explained it back then, but I forget his explanation to it. But what I put together is that why is the Rashi Tevot Ribono Shel Olam? Because a person that is Rasha thinks he's the Ribono Shel Olam. He thinks he's the master. He's the this. I do this. I do that. No, it's not me. It's not me. Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps me figure out what to say to you guys right now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is what's keeping us going every single day. The only thing that we take with us is our mitzvot. The money does not go into the grave. There are rappers that could say all they want, that they could take the money into the grave. It's not going to happen. The money comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's written every Rosh Hashanah. Everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything that is given to us is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But in the end of the day, the mitzvot is what we take with us. That's ours. So now, a person has to realize that there are a lot of things that we can't explain. There are a lot of things we can't understand. But in the end of the day, it's hard to say it. But even when we see things that look bad, and there is evil in the world, and we have to Be'ez Hashem pray. We say Laminim Shinim. We have to pray that evil gets eradicated, and that's why we see that there are people in the Tanakh that died. What David killed Goliath. Many times we see it. Where there's a inyan revenge. It says El Nakamot Hashem El Nakamot Ofia. There will be a revenge one day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring the Geulah and will save us from all this balagan we see in the world today. So
don't they also say, like when 9/11 happened, Allah and Abraham came and showed us, see, it's written in the Torah. This and that, and something else happened now with the hospital. The three girls with their names.
Oh, they did Bible codes, you say?
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
By the what?
Bible codes, meaning Aaron Abraham even used to show this, that you do a certain mathematical skip that equals. He always did that. He was a very big fan of it. It's valid. It's not valid. However, Christians also use it. So
now to see what's going to happen.
It's not an indication. It's not an indication. No, it's not. Listen. Listen, it's not an indication. Listen, it's not a. In the end of the day, it's not an it could be an indication, but it looks fancy, it looks nice, it looks interesting, but in the end of the day, it's not going to determine. In the end of the day, all we can do is have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, have faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and have bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, trust in Hashem. That's all we could do. Rav Yaakov Hillel, the biggest, a very big posek for Iraqis, I believe. He's very on the Kabbalistic side, like the Ben Ish Chai. Maybe. Well, Rav Yaakov Hillel writes a whole book about all these people that like to go to these interpreters and psychics and all these and like to get into the world of Kabbalah when they don't even know basic Torah, basic Chumash and Rashi. What? No. He says don't go to it. It says if you have, because people have issues, problems going on, so they think, oh, I should go get my palm read. No, because that changes every day. Depending, you say one Yehesh Shemer Rabba Meborach, your whole entire day, your whole entire future can change just from that one Yehesh Shemer Rabba Meborach. People don't realize it. So what does so Rav Yaakov says, what's the answer for most of the things that people like to do? Just have faith in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Trust in Hashem. Just live your life. Do your mitzvot. Be a pashut a Jew, and have faith in the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
General question.
Yes, sure.
The Torah and mitzvot that were written before the existence of the world,
Yeah.
and was written only for the
whole
Jews who were chosen. What about the rest of the people?
It was for the whole world.
The Torah applies to the whole world. It started with the Sheva Mitzvot Bene Noach that applied to everybody, including Jews. And then when the Torah was received at Har Sinai, then all those commandments, as well as the Torah Shebe'al Peh, applied to Jews. And the best example is this. Before the Matan Torah, in order to marry a woman, you just had to, you meet a woman somewhere, you guys decide to move in together, you're married. You decide, oh, it's not working for me, move out, divorce. That would and today this still applies to the goyim today. The goyim don't have to go and have a wedding ceremony and all that. I just think it makes it more complicated. A general girlfriend boyfriend today living together for goyim is allowed, and that's the best thing I think to do. However, for the Jews, it was also like this. When we received the Torah, then you have to have a Jewish ceremony. It's called with chuppah and kiddushin, just like we see today in Jewish weddings across the world. So, but in the end of the day, back then we didn't. Today, after Matan Torah, after we received the Torah, we were obligated in that.
So you want to say before the Torah and the rules, the Jewish men they can marry 5 wives to be with 5 wives. After the Torah, just one.
That's a whole different thing. In fact, even in the Torah, a man, according to the Torah, a man could have more than one wife. Today we don't do it because of Takanat Gershon. It means that there was a takana not to have more than one wife anymore, and the Ashkenazim are very makpid on it. Today, the Sfaradim in the Ketubah, they have to get permission from their wives. And either way, it's not so simple to just do it. My grandfather, his parents had his father had another wife because the first wife was barren, and at the end of the day, he came from the first wife. My grandfather, that's my dad's dad. Saba Nawi. Yeah, it was a miracle child. Yeah, any question? By the way, do we have a minyan? No, we don't have a minyan. No. Okay, fine.
My question is very general. If you live by the 10 Commandments, which Christians believe in and the Jews believe in, and it's like basic morality.
The Christians don't necessarily believe in the 10 Commandments, but okay.
Okay, but basic morality, that's basic logic, morality, whatever you want to call it. That's not enough.
No, there's more to it. There's 613 mitzvot.
I know, but I'm saying, those are the list.
You're saying it's not enough? So no, it's not enough because all those 10.
Morally, you're a good person. You don't hurt people, etc., etc., etc.
That's only one part of everything. No, because that's only one part of the Torah. To be a good person is a mitzvah. To be a good person, that's only one part of the Torah. What about what?
This is the Torah. The 10 Commandments is the Torah.
Everything else is the Torah. The Torah 10 Commandments isn't just the face value. It's
the 653 mitzvot.
613.
613.
It's in the Torah.
It's all in the Torah.
53.
Yeah, it's all based on psukim in the Torah and in other places also. Not just the Chumash, also in the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim. Yeah, today not everybody can do all 613, right? Because we don't have Bet HaMikdash, and not everybody's a Kohen over here. I'm not a Kohen, so not everybody could. But we have to do whatever we can do. We have to try to do whatever we can do, because there are many things that we can do. So we are obligated to do it. And by the way, we obligated ourselves at Mount Sinai all those years back.
How can you relate to a lot of the parashot that is very, very difficult to relate, like the Para, Duma, and all this? Like for average people, all this is like,
well,
it sounds like
right.
Like how does it relate to us today or whatever?
So let me, before I answer that, we have to remember that the Torah, everything in the Torah, all the Tanakh, meaning Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, all apply throughout all time. There's a Gemara that says that there were thousands of prophets, but we only see like 40 something. I forget exactly how many. We see only those prophecies. Well, what about the rest? So why? Because those prophecies, all other prophecies we don't see applied to the time, to only that time where it was prophesied. All the prophecies we see today, all the books we see today of Tanakh apply throughout all of time. Now, to answer that question, to understand it better, to understand how it, that's why we learn. That's why we learn Midrash, Mefarashim. We learn Pirush Rashi. We learn Gemara. We learn Mishnayot, Gemara. That's why we learn these things, because all these laws that they put in the that is put in the Mishnah and that is in the Beraitot and in the Gemara, it's all taken from verses within the Tanakh. It all comes from a verse within the Tanakh. And I'm not talking about rabbinical laws. Rabbinical laws came because they made rabbinical decrees so that we wouldn't come to break the Torah laws. So also the Torah obligates us to listen to the rabbis and not divert from them, nor left nor right. So we're also obligated. So Deoraita is also Deorabanan also. But when we learn,
what is Tanakh?
Tanakh is all the written Torah. It's the 5 books of Moses, all the prophets, the writings, meaning Tehillim, Divrei Hayamim, the Megillat Esther. That's Tanakh. That's Tanakh.
Torah, they written one time, and all the Perushim, it's come another time.
No, it all came in Har Sinai. It all came in Har Sinai.
The Perushim too?
Yep, everything came in Har Sinai. By the way, they're Iraqis. Here's a good thing, and this is a topic that I learned with a chavruta. But I don't know if anybody's ever been to a synagogue where they see a person wear 2 tefillin, right? In Iraq, it was very well. In Iraq, it was done a lot. That's why the tefillin were made very small, right? Because there were people that in Ben Ish Chai says to wear 2 tefillin together. Aaron Abraham's father wore 2 tefillin together, right? So now, because you have Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, because you have what's called tefillin Rashi, which the machloket is, the debate is how to structure the passages of the tefillin within the tefillin, right? So Rashi says Ve'aya ki yaviacha Shema Ve'ayim Shamo, right? That everybody that wears tefillin today wears Rashi, right? That's the general tefillin today. Then his grandson Rabbeinu Tam was debated again, and no, you should switch. So that's why we wear 2 tefillin. And the Zohar says that from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, now this is all Har Sinai, that from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, from Sinai, that people wore 2 tefillin together, and that's why the Shulchan Aruch, the code of halacha says that we should wear, that it's best to wear 2 tefillin. You can find pictures. You can find pictures online. There are people out there that. Yes. I put on 2 tefillin. I put on 2 tefillin. Yeah. There are people that put it. Wait, let's just clarify. There are people that put it on separately, meaning you'll see them put on 1 pair. Yeah. Then in the middle they will take it off and put on another pair. Oh. It's a sleight of hand.
But you don't have 2 pairs on you at the same time.
No, I do. I put 2 pairs at the same time.
Put 2 of them in your hand,
Yep.
right hand?
Yeah, it's very small. They have to be very small. They cost. Yeah, together. Yeah, I put it together. Yeah, I put it together.
The question of relating to.
And this is the Iraqis. No, so. Right. You put it on the You put it on the left. Yeah, I put it. I'm saying I'm a righty, so I put it on my left hand. No, lefties have to put on the right. Yeah. Iraqis, yes. That's a general halacha, nothing to do with Iraqis. Iraqis put on. By the way, it's not an Iraqi thing to put on 2 tefillin. It's a Kabbalistic thing from the Arizal, and the Bene Ish Chai, who was Iraqi, was very big on that, and that's why people in Iraq and also in Calcutta and other places that Iraqis went put on 2 tefillin. There are many people. There are many people. 2 on the bicep, 2 on the rosh. Yes. You could look it up on Google Images. Many Mekubalim do it. Rav Yaakov Hillel does it. What? No. No, that's a different thing. But you put on the right hand. Yeah. If you're a lefty, you write with your left hand. You put on the right. Yes.
So again, that question that I had with, let's say,
But just one more thing. That wasn't just from Rashi and from Rabbeinu Tam. Yes, they were the ones that brought it down, but it was from Sinai that this was like this. This was from Sinai. The same tefillin that we wear today was in Sinai. It didn't come later. Yes. So some say Moshe Rabbeinu put on two tefillin together. The Zohar says he put on two together. But let me just make sure. Just because you're Iraqi doesn't mean you have to put on two tefillin. Putting on one tefillin, that's the command. You fulfill the commandment. That's good enough. That's it. Put on two tefillin. It's a very nice thing to do if you can, if it's in your budget and whatnot, or to put on separately, it fits in your budget. But to put on one tefillin, that's the mitzvah. That's it. That your question, Mechila.
So the question again, the parashot that you cannot relate to, like the Duma, whatever.
Yeah.
So you're saying that in order to relate, you have to really go into more deeper, whatever it is. I mean, you cannot, obviously you cannot, I mean, when you read it literally, it just sounds like nothing, for us.
Right.
It means
not
nothing.
religion.
So no. Sometimes you can understand it, depending. Sometimes you can't. And that is why we have what's called Pirushim, commentary. We have Rashi, we have the Ibn Ezra, we have the Mitzudat. There are many commentators that come. The Ben Ish Chai himself has a whole book that comments on the Torah, on the five books of Moses. He has his own Pirush on the Torah. There are many people that have Pirush, and we can understand it better with those things. There's Chazal, the sages in the times of in the Talmudic times, the Mishnah, they talked about these things. They were mifaresh, they were explaining the Torah better. By the way, every law that we have in halakha comes from a pasuk in the Torah. Everything we do in prayer has a source in the Torah. It may take a long time to figure out where exactly it is, but it's there. It's all there.
I have some. Why do we put on a kova?
Kippah? Because so that's a good one. Oh yeah, that's a very good question. Because it makes you look nice. No, that's also. No, why do we wear kippah? Why do we wear kippah? Great question. So it's a the hat has a different thing. It's a kavod. But Rav Ovadia says that during Mincha Arvit, a person should wear a kova. However, why not shachrit? Because you wear your talit over your head. So the talit over the head counts. But some people really, if you ask people, some people, they'll say wear what they wore back then. And like, if anybody ever heard of Rav Amnon Yitzchak, he wears the Teimani levush. He wears the Teimani hat. He wears a gown. He wears a gown, and he says, realistically, people should not wear suits and black. They should wear gowns like we do. And that's what he tells people. But even his the people that work with him wear black hats and stuff. But whatever, that's just because in the Torah times that's what they wore. But today, because we try to fit in more, we wear black hat. There's an inyan to have a double cover, and that's why we wear the hat. That's just a community thing that is done today. Why wear kippah in general? You don't have to wear a black hat, but it's Rav Ovadia says it's good for Mincha Arvit to wear one when praying, at least. So why the kippah? So it's a rabbinical thing that we have to have our head covered in order to connect. You have to have your head covered. Now it's for you to show fear of heaven, Yirat Shamayim, to show that Kadosh Baruch Hu is always there, and also it shows that you're a light among the nations, because Jews, we are the light among the nations. Now it's a rabbinical thing. The Torah doesn't. But however, there are some poskim that say that even by the Torah law, you would have to wear a kippah. Maybe. Why? Because in the other religions and cults, they push them to be bareheaded.
Yes.
So and there's a law that says, you will not go with their laws. With be like the goyim. We're not supposed to be like the goyim. So therefore, some say from the Torah you should also be wearing a kippah everywhere you go. But either way, every certain amount of distance, a person has to have his head covered. Has to have a kippah on.
Against what the Torah say, which law do you have to follow?
The Torah. 100% the Torah. Yeah.
Or the law of the land.
No, the Torah. Wherever you can follow the law of the land, you follow the law of the land. But when it contradicts the Torah, you follow the Torah. If I think maybe in Europe they had to deal with this, but if they told someone not to keep Shabbat, you still keep Shabbat. To keep Shabbat, Mazin.
Or circumcision, where they say
yeah, you
it's
still
not
do it.
allowed.
Ma, you still do it. In Hanukkah, they banned Rosh Chodesh Brit Milah. So good. You have to do it. Doesn't matter.
Christians, they will keep those too. I mean,
It's something else. But we have the generally even regardless of what I just said about, because we don't want to be like them, a person has to have their hair covered to pray, to walk in a certain amot, and that's a rabbinical. Even women also have to have their hair covered, but that's a whole different thing. But that's from the Torah; they have to have their hair covered.
the whole hair, the whole hair, just like
Oh no, the whole hair. A single woman, they say when pray. The wig, the wig. The fee. If you want my thought, and based on poskim. Now today we can't really. It's very hard to convince a woman not to wear a wig. So unfortunately, we are lenient with it. But the truth is that the poskim by Sfaradim never allowed wigs. There were Ashkenazi poskim that allowed wigs, but not the wigs of today. They were different types of wigs. What?
The bigger postcode when it comes to women.
I'm sorry, I didn't
There
understand.
should be a postcode.
No, there's no such thing as postcode. But that's that. No, there's no such thing as postcode. That's reform. There's no such thing as a woman doing these things that rabbis do. That's reform. That's reform. That's because so really the Sfaradim say use a scarf. Why the wig? Because the scarf can't always get every single strand of hair. So that's why they had this thing to wear a wig. However, there's a lot of problems with the wigs. But if you ask me if it's better that a woman wear a wig or not cover her head at all, I would say wear a wig. However, there are a lot of problems with the wigs, as I just said. What is it? One, Sfaradim are against it. However, Rav Ovadia says that if you wear, it's called a fall, where you can put the wig on and then you put a hat, a scarf that covers the wig. That is okay, and you can go outside in public. That is okay. But to wear a wig by itself outside in public is a problem of its own. The other problem with the wigs is we have where it comes from. There were poskim. There was Rav Moshe Sternbuch, very big posek in Eretz Yisrael. Halachic decisors. They give halachic. It's called psak. They give a halachic conclusion to what you have to do. Let's say you go to posek to know, oh, do I have to do this or that? The posek will say the halacha demands you do like that. They know their halacha very well. So hope I explained that. I'm sorry about that. What? It's a job that rabbis do. Yes, we have. No, not Sanhedrin. No, that's a different thing. We don't have Sanhedrin today. I'm sorry again.
If a woman doesn't want a wig, can she just keep her own?
She needs to cover a married woman. Who needs to cover her hair. Even a divorced woman. Not public. At home. It's a bit. Yes, at home you can be lenient. The best is to always cover the hair, even at home. But you can be lenient and you can take off the hair. It's fine. Because the wig covers your actual hair. Because let me explain why. And yes, so two people at the same time. Mechila, Maggie.
Now, where it is written that she is not supposed to show her hair.
So there is a pasuk in the Torah that shows it. I'm not sure of the pasuk. I could find it at a different time. However, the reason is like this: women are different than men, obviously. Oh Hashem. women are different than men. So their body parts of both women and men, and certain body parts have to be covered, and if they're not covered, they're exposing naked parts. Right, exactly. Now, men only have maybe one of those, which maybe everybody could figure that out for themselves. Women, however, have multiple spots in their body that are considered not just that naked, technically, like uncovered, erva, it's called, nakedness. And those include the elbows, up above the knees, by the knees, above the knees, the collar line, and for a married woman, the hair. The whole entire hair is basically.
A man-made law
No, it's a Torah. It's from the Torah.
in the Torah.
That is from the Torah. That is a Torah commandment. Yes.
Why can't the women wear pants?
There's two reasons. And by the way, I forgot to mention this about Purim. Let's say you know how in Purim we wear costumes, right? Can a man? No. Well, Sfaradim wear costumes also. Let's say first of all, if you're gonna go to shul and you want to dress up as an appropriate costume, you can do that, or you should wear Shabbat clothes. To davening when you come here Megillah night, you should wear either Shabbat clothes or wear a nice appropriate costume. What do I mean by appropriate? Obviously, self-explanatory, common sense, but also there's a Torah law that a man should not wear woman's clothes. So, and a woman should not wear man's clothes. Meaning, so one time I remember I saw that there was a guy dressed in Purim as this woman from the Progressive commercials, and he wore a wig, he wore the whole thing, and I'm like, this is Isur D'Oraita. You're not supposed to do this. It's not allowed. A woman to wear a yarmulke, it's not allowed either. However, if let's say you want to be a man wants to be a gentleman and let his wife wear his suit, that's allowed. That I'm just saying that for the couples.
They say the woman shouldn't show her hair. Why? Because she doesn't show to the people, to the men, that she has a beautiful hair.
It's not no, but it's not just about it's not no but that's not it's not about that. It's about the fact that the hair is considered nakedness. It's no different than
sexiness. That's all.
No, it's no. Let's not say it like that. It's no different. It's no. Listen. It's no different. I'm gonna say it very bluntly here. Having the hair uncovered for a woman, and I'm saying it based on the Torah. It's no different than somebody pulling down their pants and whatever. It's no different. It's the same exact thing. It's a nakedness. We think it's not because
the same
wig. Listen, wig is right. Wig is a problem also. Right, but if you have to decide between a wig and not covering your hair at all, go with the wig. The wig though is a bunch of problems. Where it comes from, it may be coming from Avodah Zarah.
It's against the Torah.
I also agree, and I'm not pro it. But listen, again, in the end of the day, we let the women be lenient with it because it's very tough for the women. We're in a very hard generation today.
Is it possible that they wore the wig to let them know that they are married?
No, it has nothing. No, it's nothing to do. No, it's not. It has to do with the fact. Wait, one sec. Yeah.
Who's wearing yarmulke?
Yeah.
And shows his hair.
It's fine because he's not. It's not considered a nakedness for the man. Because for the but the same thing. If a man shows his elbows, it's not nakedness. For a woman, it is. For a woman, it is. These are all halachot of tziyut. These are halachot. These are called. Yes.
I'm reading it.
Okay.
It's from
Yeah.
So he said that it was always a mitzvah for a man to cover his hair. It was always. It's written actually in the Torah.
Okay.
But what happened is when the woman came in front of the Kohen, so hu para et se'ara. That's what is written.
Where are you reading this from?
He did this.
Okay.
So according to them, he's saying most likely what he did, he removed the mitznefet. You know, like whatever she was covering her hair. So it was a tradition already before. It wasn't. It was a tradition that the woman did it anyway.
Right. But it's from. But what I'm saying is, it's a commandment from Sinai. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. So. Right. Let me just explain something. By tema, but whatever. If anybody wants to go, if anybody has any more questions, I'm not holding anybody here. I hope not. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, the Rambam holds that even single women that are not married should cover their hair. So there are Teimanim, Yemenites, that do this. But then there are a lot of Yemenites that don't, because then they won't fit in and everything, so they don't. But we don't hold this way. We hold that a single woman is allowed to have her hair uncovered. There's a question if she should wear one of those little things that you have over here when praying only. There's a question about that. But a single woman does not have to cover her hair because it's not considered nakedness. But once a single woman gets married, she's with her husband, then she is obligated to cover her hair because it becomes what's called an irva, a nakedness, which is no different than a person removing their pants. By the way, pants. I want to explain pants. We said that that man is not supposed to wear women's clothes and the woman's not supposed to wear man's clothes. So one thing about pants is that there is a strong there's a strong thing that it says pants is really a guy's thing to wear, and therefore women should not wear pants. That's one aspect. The other aspect of wearing pants without a skirt of it is that you're not technically covered. So if you want to wear pants, if you put a skirt that covers the knees, you can do that. The other issue, though, as I said before, with pants is that it may be a clothing of a man. So that may be another issue that has been said. So that's the whole issue with pants. If a woman, though, wants to wear pants as pajama pants at home, perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that. But to go outside with pajama pants, a woman should not do it. She's exposing herself. Oh, that I'll tell you why. That's there. We nobody has to do that. That is a chumrah that has no. That's Hasid. That's something that certain Hasidim do. In New Square, in Monsey, New Square Square, they do it. There are two reasons why they do it. One is the modesty aspect. And again, no woman here is obligated to go and shave their heads. Let's just clarify. No one is obligated. No one is obligated only to cover, but not to shave. Why do they do it? So the other reason is this, because if any woman has gone to the mikvah, they do it because of the issue of chatzitza. So there's not going to be an issue of chatzitza. What does that mean? There's what's called, because when a woman dips into the mikvah, she has to make sure that her hair is clean of knots and everything, so that there will not be a disruption between the mikvah water and the woman's hair and body. That is why they shave their head, so they don't have that issue. Why? Because if there is that issue, then it's karet. The person, it's a isul karet, what's called, which is a spiritual excision, which we say in Yom Kippur, we say it. So that is a karet, and that's why they go to a very extreme, so that they don't mess up in this thing. That's why they shave the head, so they don't have that problem. However, there is no Torah law or rabbinical law that requires, or even chumrah, to do this. So you can keep your hair, as you say. What?
Laws are made by rabbis.
No. Covering the hair is not. The tzniut is also not.
There is one thing.
It's all from the Torah. All to cover the elbows, it's sugiyah. It's a topic in Shulchan Aruch called Litrachek min ha'arayot. It talks about all the aspects of what how a woman has to dress and everything like that. And and all these things. If a woman does not do, is from the Torah. But I'll give you an example of something that is a stringency, leniency. For example, if a woman wants to roll her sleeve up to the elbow, yeah, if you roll to the elbow, that's a leniency. That's fine.
To cover till here.
Till the elbow, up to here.
Why? My daughter went to yeshiva.
Right.
She put sleeve here.
He
sent her home.
Right.
You have to wear till here. What? Why?
Because that's from the Torah. From the Torah, that is a nakedness. That is considered nakedness. Same thing with the hair. Same thing with pulling down the pants. It's the same thing. That's how the Torah considers it. It's the same. No, in general. But if you go out in public, there's going to be men. So if a man sees it like that, then somebody is over on that. That's a whole nother thing. But what?
When you read the Shema and you read the how should you be dressed?
Modest, and you have to have the hair covered. Married woman.
How about the clothes?
Should be ideally.
Or can you with pants or you're not allowed?
You could. If you're at home, you could be with. Listen, the best. I'm gonna tell you the best thing, and I tell you what. The best is to dress according to the halacha. That is the best. But if you think that because I'm not gonna do that, I shouldn't pray. No, go dress normally like you do and pray. Do it. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Go and pray.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the idea. I don't know. Whenever if everybody wants me back, I don't know. I might scare everybody away.
Give it next time to more people.
Any more questions?
More question.
I do have time for questions.
When you're praying, what it does, it makes you closer to God.
It gets you closer to God. It gets you closer to Hashem. There is a mitzvah from the Torah that you have to pray every day. But minyan is rabbinical, but it's very good because in the end of the day, there are kadishim, amenim, and the kiddushot that a person is required to hear every day. There's a certain amount of kaddish. What? You have to hear it every day, man. It's the same thing every day, but it's not really the same thing every day because there's always a difference. You always can learn more from it. That's what makes it different. Huh? Yeah. What do you think? I say the same things every day, but in the end of the day, you can learn more from it. You can understand. You connect more. A person. It takes time and years of just doing it. It says in the Torah, we said when we received the Torah, we said Naaseh v'nishma, not nishma v'naaseh. Naaseh, we'll do, then we'll hear. Naaseh is this world, nishma is the next world.
And so much because you have blind faith.
It's not blind. No, it's not. It's not blind faith.
I'm saying blind faith because, but I envy you because I don't have that blind faith that you.
It's not necessarily about blind faith. You have to also figure it out as it is, but also a person has to also work on themselves on their characteristics. When we work on our character, it helps us understand it more. We have to ask questions. In Christianity, they teach people don't ask questions. No, we want to ask questions. We want to understand. There are things but then again, there are things that we just have to understand. This is Hashem decreed on us, Misinai, and that's it. There are things like that, but then there are things that we can understand. Why kashrut? Why this? Why that? There are things that we can.
And your mind goes somewhere else. Oh, somebody's gonna ring the bell. How do you pray?
Try to focus. First of all, relax. Try to just accept. Okay, there's something going on. Let me just try to focus. Pause a bit, and then keep going. In the middle of Shmona Esrei, you shouldn't do anything else anyway. Yeah, Amidah. In the Amidah, you shouldn't do anything else anyway until you finish the Amidah.
We're supposed to read Amidah.
A woman can do Shema and Amidah, and that's enough. She can do other things also. She could do the whole Shachrit also, but Shema, Amidah, that's enough. You can do Alin Shabbat also. To pray, yes. A woman's obligated to pray once a day. It could be either Shachrit, Mincha, or Arvit.
Can you do like Shema in the morning and the
Amidah
at night or in the afternoon?
So you should try to do it together. One after you do Shema and then you do Amidah right after. Yeah. Just one second, my wife. I'm gonna just end this here. My wife's calling me. Hello.